What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of the ABJ Podcast. This is episode 62 with Grim from GTS. Very excited to have him on. 1 second, just get the housekeeping done. Make sure you check out the links below for all things ABJ, as well as my guests, so you can show that support. Still one of my on the injured wrestling list, Philly Mike. Any support you can help him out, please do so as well. And then let's get our sponsorship down. Guys, it has finally happened. A whole store fully dedicated to vintage wrestling. They said it could never be done, but I have seen it with my own eyes. Suplex oh my goodness. Suplex Vintage Wrestling is a store curated by wrestling fans for wrestling fans. Located in 5th Street in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, just 1 block south of South Street in the heart of Queen Village. Their shop features the largest collection of vintage wrestling apparel under one roof. Their selection includes classic designs featuring your favorite wrestlers from the Golden Age, Attitude Era, Internationals, Indies, and more. And if you're tired of watching premium live events alone at your home, then SVW hosts the best watch parties since your best friend Kyle's 12th birthday party. Our shirts and watch parties not your thing? Well, they have a large selection of figures, replica belts, trading cards, and their shirts and hats from rare wrestling memorabilia. They have something for every wrestling enthusiast out there. So what are you waiting for? Check them out on Instagram at suplex.svw or on their website, suplexsvw.com, to let them satisfy your nostalgia needs. All right, I want to get that ad read and everything out of the way, early stuff as well, because it is late at night. We're pre-recording this, so you guys will see this now when you're watching it. So, but I he's been had a really busy day, so I want to bring in my guest. You have probably seen him on the internet. He's all over the place. He is the hardest working content creator out there, striving to hopefully one day work as hard as this guy does. But I'm excited to finally hear his story. I'm very late to the GTS trend. Philly Mike, my gateway drug, has turned me on to this, and I've been watching ever since, and I really enjoy their content. And then he's been making his way up to the 570 and hanging out with us at Smash Master Wrestling. So it's been a blast. Without further ado, let's bring in my guest, Grim.
What's up, dude? How are you?
I'm great, man. Thank you so much for doing this. I really appreciate it.
Thanks for having
me. Yeah, well, kind of first things first is, I know you do work a little bit in the Jersey scene, as well as, obviously your content with GTS, but how has the experience been coming up to the 570 and working at Smash Master Wrestling?
So far, I'm loving it. It's a completely different vibe from New Jersey independent wrestling, and I really appreciate that. Like, it's more, I don't know, it's just a completely different vibe. Like, New Jersey's very toxic, and Smash Master, the whole vibe of the whole locker room is completely different. It's like GTS. It's what I strive for, like a family, a brotherhood, that we all just want to have a good time and not have drama and put on a good show and have fun and entertain the fans.
So when I first seen, the first time I've ever really heard, I've heard about your content, but the first time I ever consumed it, which is kind of a crazy thing, is the first ever live show you guys did in that library. So that was my first exposure, and I remember just being at the show and I seen like it had its moments of being serious and then kooky and then scary and I was just like, it's a variety show. This is what wrestling should be. It should be a little bit of everything. You should feel the gamut of emotions and when you're consuming professional wrestling, there's not just one thing that you should do. It should be a little bit of everything. And I remember just being at the show and I was telling Mike on the way home, I was like, Mike, this is essentially what we're doing up here with in the 570, like Smash Master, High Tension Wrestling, Sanctuary. He's like, dude, Grim's environment is essentially Sanctuary, but outdoors. Like, it's just a really cool thing. So he's kind of been that gateway of like what we're doing up here, and then kind of bringing people back and forth from your place to Jersey to PA. And I honestly think, man, like between the talent, and I've worked with a lot of talent that work GTS, and they're all really good people. And I click with them like that because of what you said, is that environment. You bring in good people, you work with good people. And now that the two are kind of colliding, it's just a match made in heaven.
Yeah. And that's what at GTS, I'll only have people that are good vibe. When people bring drama, bring problems, or bring negativity or bad attitudes, what have you, we just say, hey, dude, listen, it's not for us right now. And we just move from it. And that way we keep everything really exciting and fun. And like you said, we have good people, and you guys are having some great people. One huge problem, we're like 3 hours apart.
Yeah.
And the gas and the drive, but we're trying to get it done as much as we can. to put together content for everybody with so many good, talented people.
Yeah. I trust me. I know that 3-hour drive. I was booked a lot in the past couple months of last year too in Jersey, and my transmission has just exploded. So I'm out of a car for a while. So that I definitely know what it like the travel. But let's rewind the clock a little bit. I normally ask, when you became a fan of professional wrestling, and we can get into that if we have the time. But I'm really interested in how you got into the just content creating aspect of things. Did wrestling come first? Did you start doing the content? Were you trained? How did that all come about?
Well, so I'm been doing this so long that we have to rewind to before there were cell phones and internet and all that kind of stuff. I went to wrestling school. I wanted to be a wrestler. I was watching WWF as a kid. Came up in Attitude Era. I wanted to be a pro wrestler. I said, this is what I want to do. And started going to a wrestling school, which was Iron Mike Sharp's Monster. The Iron Mike Sharp's Wrestling Academy in Asbury Park is where I started going. And that didn't last very long. That school was falling apart. It was on its last legs, unfortunately. But then I just started doing indie wrestling shows and, did that for about 3 years and then stopped. I started doing a regular job, delivering soda, but I always wanted to wrestle. I always wanted to be an entertainer. That's just what I wanted to do. I just never had the vehicle to do it properly. And then YouTube came out and I said, holy crap, I can make a video with my cell phone and put it on YouTube and then send it to people for them to laugh at. And that's how I started it. I just made videos for my friends to laugh at. And I said, well, this is funny to me and this is funny to them. And we'd all laugh. And I made a bunch of videos for a week and stopped. And then I checked back in 3-4 months later and they all had thousands of views. And the comments were, what happened to this channel? Make more. This was so funny. And I was like, holy crap, people liked this. So I was like, I'm going to make more. And I just kept doing it. And here I am, 12 years later.
That's crazy. That's insane. So it started off initially as figures, right? So it was mostly the toys and the figure collecting and stuff like that. Right.
Yeah.
And then you transitioned that into an actual federation.
Yes. So I'd always been just an avid toy collector. I never stopped buying toys, even as I was growing up and became a teenager. I was secretly going to Toys R Us and buying Legos. So nobody knew. I was that dude. And I always collected toys. I never stopped. And I always had a huge toy collection. I never stopped. I always had that. And then when I started doing the YouTube, it was primarily because, oh, hey, I'm a huge toy collector and I'm in all these forums and I'm always a leader in the forums and leading the charge to find this toy or whatever. And so when I started making videos, that's where I would post them for people to watch in these forums. And the Transformer fans said that my videos were terrible. And the G.I. Joe fans hated me. And the Power Rangers fans wanted me to die. But the wrestling fans loved my content. So I said, all right, so I'm just going to be a WWE guy, even though I collect everything. I was a toy guy. It was Grimm's Toy Show. But then it became Grimm's WWE Show. Just because I was more accepted by the wrestling fans.
Yeah, absolutely. That's kind of how the podcast is. I'm open to talk and interview anybody in any facet. I love just independent. I love independent directors, movies, people who are just chasing that dream. But I kind of fell into that wrestling niche, so that's kind of where I lean into. But yeah, man, that's insane. How do you, after 12 years, how do you balance, making content, spending time with family, doing this, but also hey, I want to make this a job. I have to grind. I have to push. If you slow down, the next person falls in, you know what I mean? Just that constant, mental side of making content.
I mean, that's I'm very bad at that. I fail at that. And to a fault where I've had lots of problems and, you can't have it at all. I think my biggest problem in life was that I tried to have it all. And then I realized you can't, bro. You either got to be a hyper-focused content creator, or you got to be a family man, or you got to be a dad, or you got to be a husband, or you got, you can't be at all. You can't, you have a bunch of different hats to wear, but you can only do maybe 2 or 3 of them. And otherwise everything starts getting spread out and you're not good at anything and you're failing at everything. You got to focus. So I learned to focus.
Yeah.
So I would say that's the number one thing is just focus. You have to focus on, oh crap, my kid needs me today. I got to focus on that, man. Like, and YouTube has to wait for tomorrow, unfortunately.
Yeah.
And then when I got to grind on YouTube, like, hey man, everything's cool. I got to grind today,
Mm-hmm. Now, how often are you recording daily? Are you recording you do like, hey, every other day? Like how often do you grind and post and chase this rat race?
All right, so I don't know how I used to do it, but when I was in my grind and in my peak and in my height of popularity and everything, bro, I was grinding out 3 videos every single day across 3 channels.
Jeez.
GTS Wrestling, Live Action Wrestling Federation video, family vlog with my ex-wife and kids, and gaming channel content, playing video games or action figures. 3 videos every single day. I don't know how I did it. I can't do it now. I can't even fathom trying. I tried it. And I've been doing 1 or 2 videos a day. And even if I feel like I'm overstretched and I'm doing too much. But that's exactly like you said, dude. The minute you take a break and say, I need a day off, something huge happens and everybody's out there getting hundreds of thousands of views and I'm taking the day off and I'm like, no, I should be making a video.
Now you also go to a lot of events, like you're going to the WWEs, the AEWs. Now, one of the things I've been noticing on your channel, going back and looking, is there's a lot of people who are on TV weekly who have wrestled in your backyard. That's crazy to think about. Like, you were in attendance and watching MJF win the world title at AEW. And a year or 2 before that, he was doing a whole bit with you in Jersey, wrestling in your backyard.
And to me, I love that. And when I was actually at that event, so like, I mean, they're always supposed to be in like hard cam, like they're always supposed to be in. I was not near the hard cam or anything. And I'm like, oh, I'll probably never even get shown on TV. I was like mad where I was sitting because, I like to be on TV.
Tina was shown first.
Yeah, but guess what, dude? We were shown all night long because the workers, the wrestlers, they kept doing spots in front of us.
Yep.
And then after the show, literally one of them texted me and said, bro, they were all doing the spots over by you because they all wanted to be in your videos and they all wanted to see what you were going to do.
I love that.
And I thought that's so awesome. Like, thank you, everybody. I felt very included.
Yeah, that's super cool that like they gave you that that spot. You know what I mean? That's neat. But are you still in contact? Do you still talk to him? I don't want to ruin too much kayfabe with MJF. Yeah.
I mean, yes.
Cool.
I mean, like, we're not like best friends. It's not like we hang out every day, but if I text him, I get a reply usually.
That's neat. And I also too wasn't Thunder Rosa like early on her career was doing some stuff with you. I know recently Janela has been there, but I mean, you've had so many people just come through and just like
over the years, we've had so many top names come through. And not just top names that were established, but also people who you never heard of, who are now heavyweight champions. Like, literally the first media that you'll ever find anywhere of MJF in wrestling is my show. Like, to me, that's so special.
Yeah, and that's honestly what it's about. It's just giving. That's what a good content creator, like a content. Obviously, like the goal of being a content creator is you want to get over, you want to make a revenue, you want this to be your dream, you want to entertain people. But also, what you do so well for your platform, man, is you give so many people an opportunity to be seen. You give so many people an opportunity to grow in their talent, grow as a business, make some money when it comes to merch, because people they become like your audience that you've created. Then have become fans of other people on the independent scene, and then their value goes up because they're a GTS wrestler. Like, that's a legit thing, and that's something to be insanely proud about.
And it gets lost on a lot of indie promoters and all that kind of thing until they start to say, how come that guy that we booked that I've never heard of is selling more merch than everybody? And they go, oh, because he's on that YouTube backyard show.
Yeah.
That's the respect I get. But meanwhile, the guy that's on my show who just made $300 in merch is like, yo, you guys should be on GTS. I'm like, I'm not doing that. Yeah. I get a lot of that. And it's like, hey, it's not for everybody. My show's not independent wrestling. My show is a comedy drama about wrestling, but we're wrestlers performing the art of wrestling in a little bit different way. And that's what I think why my show's had staying power and why people are so into it. It's very entertaining to watch, even if you're not into wrestling.
Yeah. And it's really cool, man, because like the commentary, essentially it's just on the go wrestling. Like there's no hard cam, there's no
script. Like that's the thing. Like wrestling's supposed to be scripted. Everyone's like, this is scripted, right? Yeah, it's scripted. We gotta turn the camera on and see
what happens. Yeah. And that's the thing too. You bring a lot of creative people in. I got us like not tomorrow. It'll be a week before this, but I'm tomorrow shoot wise, like I'm interviewing 2 GTS guys. I have Jay the Key, who, essentially he's been a GTS guy since the start, and that's where he got his training. That's where he got everything. And he's one of the top guys in the scene. He's just really talented, and he has carried a lot of what he's done in that yard onto the wrestling scene, and he's thriving. And then Pete Corvus and the rest of those guys in Bad Company, I'm huge fans of them. And like, I just realized how many people I became a fan of in the New Jersey scene that are essentially, they wave your GTS banner very proudly.
And those 2, Pete and Jay, like I'm very proud of both of them, because both of them started with me with 0 training. They walked into my yard and said, yeah, I want to be a wrestler. And I said, okay, well, these are the guys that are going to train you. We had people, not me, I'm not a trainer and I won't do that. But I had other people that were veterans that were training people who wanted to start on the show. And then we did on the job training. You know what I'm saying? We filmed an episode and said, hey, we just taught you guys how to do this, that, and whatever. And you're going to do that in today's episode. And we bust it out. And then next week we teach them something else. And then that's what they do in the episode. And it was literally on the job training.
Yeah.
And when you see how good they are, it's because of the training they got at GTS, which was on the job. It was, and again, I wasn't teaching them the wrist locks and the back body drops. I was teaching them performing and, how to sell an emotion and, how to get a character across, you know. Our wrestling trainers were teaching them the back body drops and stuff. And between all of that training and then having their face in a camera and dealing with 500,000 views on every episode, now you're dealing with heat from the comment section. You're dealing with Twitter. You're dealing with Instagram. People actually give a shit about who you are and what you did on the show today and if you won or lost. So that gets in your head. These guys are ready for television with the training they've gone through. It's just, when are they going to take that next level? And I love Steph, and you could tell them that I said this and say, Grim said he loves you guys, but he wants us to take that step to the next level because they're not, and they can. I believe in both of them. They both could be TV ready. They both could be superstars on TV.
Yeah.
They got to focus.
First time I seen Pete, man, I was like, yeah, this is the new Kevin Owens right here. Like this dude, he's super athletic for his size. He he has a look. He can brawl. He's a psycho. He'll do death match. He'll do anything it takes. Like he's so good. And then another one who I'm sorry, go ahead.
He connects with the audience. My audience loves him. And I tell him all the time, I think he's terrible at promos, and talking is super important on my show, but somehow he connects with my audience.
Yeah.
And it works.
Who are some other names that have come through GTS that you know that just really stand out to you, of people that, if they're still there or if they've moved on after that, you're just really proud of their work?
Huge name that I'm also very, very proud of. Platinum Max, AEW Tag Team Champ, Create a Pro student. When I was working with Brian, we were doing collaborations there, and, he was just a student at the time, and he was just happened to be there when we were filming, and he was like, oh, hey, I'll volunteer to be in the videos. And then, we started booking matches with him and his Shook crew, which was Bryce Donovan, and Bobby Orlando was actually my graphics kid. Bobby Orlando's first time at Create a Pro was he came to see me wrestle, and he said, I want to do this. I want to be like Grim. And like, he's a wrestler today because I inspired him.
Yeah.
Like, don't know that. Like, now he went to Creative Pro. I didn't train him. I don't take any credit for anything, but he came to my show, wrestled on it for about a year with the Shook crew and Platinum X. Like, and I'm so proud of him. I know he's going to get to television. He's going to be somebody in this business. You know what I'm saying? And it's cool that I inspired him to do that.
Yeah. And it is cool. Like, I just literally had on the podcast. I did so many this month, but one of the guests I just recently had on, I asked them, like, what got you into becoming a professional wrestler and why did you want to do it? And they 100. I'm looking at my list now, and they 100% said it. Like, one of their first early stages of, Ricky Price. You seen him at Smashmaster. He got into wrestling because of Grimm's Toy Show.
That's
like.
So cool.
And everything about, like, him developing a character and how I develop a brand, but make my brand not just the independent wrestling scene, but make it outside the independent wrestling scene. And the reason he cuts all these amazing promos and he does that extra work of doing the extra mile in a promo is because he's watched, like, GTS. He's seen you.
Inspired by that, I mean? A little extra that we always put on it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's awesome.
Thank you. And you know, that's one of the things, because when GTS is filmed, I put emphasis on the emotional performance. I always tell the guys, dude, I don't care if your back body drop was smooth or crisp or whatever you kids call it these days. Like, because that didn't tell the story. That was like, you know, the comma. I always say the wrestling moves are the commas and the periods in your story. You know what I'm saying? They have to get you to the next thing.
Mm-hmm.
That's all wrestling moves are. And if you tell a story with nothing but periods and commas, people are like, they don't get it. So tell your story. And on GTS, we tell our story with our emotion and with our voices and our characters. And that's, people relate to that and they really invest in it. And that's what gets characters over. So then when you're on the independent wrestling show and you get to do all your wrestling moves, but people say, but hey, I like that guy on GTS. I know his character. I know what he sounds like. I know his catchphrases. And then they want to buy his t-shirt and his little stuffed animal or whatever.
Yeah. Honestly, one of the craziest merch kids I've seen from you at shows is Flash. Flash kills it. He kills it.
That kid, and I'm so proud of him because it's exactly what he did, dude. He came on my show as like a 19-year-old dude, and he's like was on my show for a few months, and he's getting indie bookings, and he's like, yo, people know me from being on your show. They want to buy my stuff. And he's got t-shirts and foam lightning bolts and stuffies and koozies and 8x10s and you name it. And he's got it all set up like a store.
Yeah.
And then he rakes it in with the kids.
Yep. They love him. He's connected. He's literally their superhero. He
makes like hundreds of dollars, whether the promotion gave him an envelope with $20 in it or not. He made his money. He made his mark, and he's gaining fans and followers. He's doing it the right way. I always get mad at independent wrestlers who are like, oh, they didn't give me my $20. I ain't showing up. Like, bro, I never once did this for $1. When you do it for the right reasons, the money follows.
Yeah.
I've always found that.
I one of the things that get me too, and I honestly, like, my mentality going into it was, if I can build my brand and make my brand valuable, and then I build an audience, and then my audience goes and supports that, whether it be in person or via watching the promotion on the internet or on YouTube, that shows value to me. And that's kind of like, that's what you do. And that's what your GTS roster does. Like, they go to a show and that value carries over, and whether you get paid or not, you're like, all right, I might not get a dime, but I'm going to bring my camera and I'm going to film while I'm here. And then when I film, my revenue from what happened on YouTube that day is going to probably do better than what the wrestling booking is going to do for me. And then when I put my match on against, oh, cool, we sold out insert venue here in New Jersey, and you're thinking, cool, you sold out the venue here, but we recorded something in my backyard that was seen by more people, consumed by more people. People are looking forward to the next episode more because of the storylines, and we probably made a lot more money and never had to put a person in the seat doing it.
Right. And it's a cool feeling to accomplish. Yeah. I always liked when a new wrestler starts on my show and they start getting into the groove of it, which usually takes 3 or 4 months before you really start understanding it and connecting with the audience. But then all of a sudden they come up to me and they go, this feels like I got signed to television. Like they have fans tweeting at them all day long about, I can't believe you did that to so and so last night on his episode. How dare you? And they're like, and I was in Walgreens and a kid started yelling at me, "You're that guy from GTS. I hate you." Like he's like how cool is that? You know?
Yeah. I was just in attendance at your show and filmed and just made a couple shorts and posted them. And I got messages asking if I'm the new member of GTS and how they can get in touch with members of the roster. And I'm like, I just showed up one day. I don't know. I was Philly Mike's ride. Yeah, it's crazy, man. And it's dope, man. I really enjoy what you put together, and I hope more independent wrestling people, if they don't give you the respect or your roster the respect, they definitely should start, or even wrestling schools. I don't think it's a bad idea for a wrestling school to send someone to GTS for a week just to learn how to work a camera, or get their promos or get their character work, because it's huge.
That's like what Creative Pro was doing. They were sending a lot of the guys down to GTS to get that camera work. And it's funny because of those 7 or 8 that came down and worked with me on how to do the camera work beyond wrestling moves, they're all on TV right now. All of them.
Yeah.
And I'm talking like Chris Statlander, Platinum Max, Bear Bronson. These were all characters from Creative Pro Wrestling, Smart Mark Sterling, like they all were on my show. It's so cool.
That's insane, man. And that's insane to be proud of. But like I was saying too, the independent scene, if they just put more effort into their production and filming the show, and not just worrying about getting it in the venue, filling the seats with people, like even if you have a dud seat, like, hey, all right, cool, no one showed up to the venue. But if you put the production value in and film it, and then beef up your YouTube presence and promote your YouTube channel and make content for it, even if you don't sell a ticket, people sitting there, you can still have that extra side. And that's where your wrestlers are going to be seen. That's where your product's going to be seen. It just goes over indie wrestlers' heads, or indie wrestling promotions' heads. Just like they're so worried about, oh, I put more butts in the seats than you this weekend. But it's just like, yeah, I didn't put anybody in. I still 18,000 people watched it in the first day. You know what I mean? Like that's more of an accomplishment.
Yeah. Thank you.
That's awesome, man. So what are some future plans or things going on in GTS that you're excited for, or you can't wait for people to see?
Okay. So the heavyweight championship scene right now is really crazy because we have 3 major factions. There is my faction, which is DF Black and Lime. My brother, who completely turned his back on me, is leading a faction, Black and White. And then our best friend, Kurt Bale, started his own 3rd faction, DF Bad Company. And then he stole the championship. And he's the heavyweight champion right now. I want the title. My brother wants the title. Probably going to turn into a triple threat. But the wild card is one of my best friends, Eris Spiral's husband, has the food in the fridge briefcase, and he can cash in for the championship at any time.
What do you call him?
The human thumb.
The human thumb. Yeah.
This is exactly what he looks like. I don't know what Lawrence Spiral looks like. There it is.
There it is right there. Very nice guy though. Him and yes. Yeah. So who are some people on the roster now that are there working, putting the stuff in that people should know about?
Right now, our roster is probably one of the favorite rosters I have right now because everybody's really putting in effort. I feel like top stars right now that you have to watch is Rad Dad Radley Belmont. He's our Intercontinental Champion from the Stepdads.
Mm-hmm.
And here's somebody I've heard his name for years, but I never actually saw him. And now that I see him and see his work, he's phenomenal. And he should have been on television 10 years ago. What a mind for the business. And who the hell's been sleeping on this guy? So I got to get his name out there. And then we have other great wrestlers. Eris Spiral right now is, I don't have a women's division on GTS. Everybody just wrestles everybody.
Mm-hmm.
So he's getting in there because we don't have very many female wrestlers on the show.
It's just her and Riley that just had that recent match, and Riley's been awesome.
Right. And Eris has been getting in there with the guys every week and tearing it up, and I'm really proud of her. She's been doing a great job. Yeah, Riley, we want her more again. She's in that 3 hour away issue. but I what a talent she is. Again, an undiscovered. Like, I want her on GTS more so I can get more eyes on her so she can become the superstar that she is.
Yeah.
Because she's trapped up in the mountains right now and she needs to be everywhere.
When I had him on my podcast, we talked about it, and I said, "Bro, you need, because you're doing the tribal chef thing, and you're doing the bloodline and the whole nine." I was like, Hawthorne, get your ass. And I'm telling Mike, because I was taking Mike to physical therapy 2 times a week, and I was like, Mike, Hawthorne needs to be, and he looks like a beefed up Sami Zayn. Like, he would be
right.
and then the Dr. Seuss thing, like, because he is 100% a thespian, man. You give that guy a character and he'll get it over.
Yeah, and exactly. Like, I wish that he wasn't 3 hours away, because another one who would be top level, and we have others that are closer, like Kurt Bale's our champion.
Mm-hmm.
He's with Bad Company. They're running the New Jersey indie scene right now. Jungle Jim Wilder is another one who, he doesn't wrestle a lot of independent wrestling shows for various reasons, but he's phenomenal on my show.
Yeah.
Yeah, Flash Carter. We just got Robbie Illuminati, just started not too long ago.
He's awesome.
Yeah.
With the new YouTube rules, though, he might have to be the Rumble content. Like, he might have to be the Rumble champion, because his promos get a little crazy.
Yeah. I mean, listen, nobody's worse than me.
Yeah.
There's a reason my show is as raunchy and bad as it is me. Like, I'm the worst one.
Yeah. If a talent is out there, how do they get on GTS? Say they've been watching for a while. Maybe there's someone who's a 3 hour away, but they're willing to make the drive because they know what it has to offer and they want to be a part of it. How does someone go about becoming a member of the GTS roster?
Well, I'm not hard to find, so I always just say, reach out. I have a business email, which you can find on my YouTube channel, Twitter. My DMs on Instagram are open, leave a comment or something. Like, I'm usually in tune with that of like, oh, hey, I know that person. That's a wrestler, or at least they look like a wrestler in their profile or something. I respond to that. And when I see it, so yeah, pretty much like, anybody could just reach out and say, hey, I want to do it. And it's funny that you mentioned that, the 3 hour drive, right? I had somebody who makes a 4 hour drive to be on my show every single week. Right. And I respect the hell out of that, and I said to him the one time, I said, hey, look, dude, I don't really have anything for you this week. I would hate for you to drive all the way out here, just to be in a skit, because I don't really know what to do with you this week. And he goes, oh, I'll be there. I said, are you sure? Right. I said, absolutely. I said, why? He goes, because 50,000 people are going to see my face. He goes, I'll drive 4 hours to some shindy to wrestle for 30 people for $20.
Yep.
I'd rather come to you.
And your locker room, if you have a locker room that's fun, like at Smash, I'm not booked to do anything. I just help with production. I help set up cameras. I help make sure commentary sounds good. I mean, listen, I would love to be on commentary or do any of that, but that's just not my role. They have nothing for me. So I go just to be with my friends, help the product and make it successful. You know what I mean? Right. So a 4 hour drive sometimes is a lot, but if it's a good environment and there's some type of benefit to it, it's a no brainer.
When you have a passion for something, you have to chase that passion. That's where your happiness and your heart comes from in life. Too often we let life get in the way of our passion, and if you chase your passion and you put your focus into your passion, the money will follow when you do it for the right reason. And I always believe that. So that's why I said, when I see someone who's willing to put in a drive every single week to say, I want to appear on your show because this is where I'll be seen and achieve my dream of, whatever, winning a wrestling belt, having fans care about me, selling t-shirts, getting other bookings, whatever their goal is, that they can accomplish it through that. I see that passion, and respect it, and that's why I see that you'll get what you put into it, and when people put into it and they see that, you just see them elevate, themselves up. You know,
you have no idea how much I needed to hear that today,
yeah,
Graham. I'm grinding my ass off, and it's costing me everything.
yeah, but seriously, dude, you keep going. Like MJF, you know, like I said, he came down to my show. When he came down and wrestled on my show one time, it was because he was on his way to another show, you know, that was even farther down south in Jersey when he was hustling out of Long Island, you know, and then he had to hop on a plane to go to California, you know, and he was telling me how he was making all the towns and this, that, the other thing. And I told him, so dude, you keep this up 5 years, you'll be in WWF. You'll probably be on WrestleMania. I said that to him. Now, AEW didn't exist at the time.
Yep.
But because he was hustling, man, and I seen the fucking passion in his eyes. That's what mattered to him.
Yeah. I have one last question. I don't want to keep it too long. I do know it's a late night for you. But one of the big things I really want to say, just not just for you, but you and Tina. And I probably said it like 14 times to you at the show, just because it's, besides the content thing, another thing that I need to start buckling down on and start working on is my health and getting myself, because once again, tunnel vision, man. You start making content, you're doing all the content, and sometimes you forget to start taking care of yourself mentally and physically because you're chasing a dream. You know what I mean? Like, oh, did you eat yet? Oh, I didn't. Actually, I didn't. And then when you do, you're eating at 3:00 at night or 3 a.m, and you're force feeding everything all day long, eating garbage, and then going to sleep, and it's not good for you. But your transformation, man, in your body has been unbelievable.
Thank you.
And I was very proud of you. And how has that affected more of just like the wrestling side, and just, does it help with the endurance of the match? Does it, like, you feel like you could do a lot more?
Yeah. I mean, like, I've lost to date now 90 pounds.
It's awesome. And
that's just an incredible burden to have 90 extra pounds on you when you're trying to wrestle. You know, it kills the cardio. You know, you get completely out of breath within 30 seconds because you're trying to move so much weight around. And then just, you know, jumping on people. I was afraid to do a lot of my signature moves. I felt I was too heavy. I was worried. I didn't want to crush people, or that, you know, people are going to be sick and tired of wrestling me. Grim's got to jump on me again. He's 350 pounds, you know?
Yeah.
It's fun. And I wasn't happy being that big. It just kind of happened. And I was struggling with a lot of things. Exactly what you said, the content creation. And like I was saying earlier, you got to have a balance. You got to focus. And I was so centered on content creation, 3 videos a day, every day, that you're right. I was 3 a.m. ordering Domino's, stuffing my face, and then just going to McDonald's on the way to the next taping. And next thing you know, I'm wrestling a match. And I'm like, 45 seconds on the match. I'm like, guys, hold on. I can't breathe. Why? Because I gained 40 pounds. You know, I haven't been to a gym in a month, you know, and it starts getting to you because I was focusing on the content. I wasn't focusing on my health.
Yeah.
And it got to a point, I literally was sick. Like I thought I had a disease. I thought I had something rare wrong with me. I went to the doctor and he goes, just change your diet. He goes, give me 2 months, please. He goes, you don't need this test. You don't need this pill. Change your diet. So I found a meal prep place to make me food, because that was the problem. I don't have time. And I pay a hell of a lot of money for this food every week, but I don't have to think about it. It's just there. It's pre-made. Eat that. And all of a sudden, bro, I'm healthy again. I feel better. All of my ailments went away. And I'm just like, wow, food was the killing me, and food made me better. And then you don't realize that. I never did. And I'm, you know, in my 40s now. I never realized that, like, eating McDonald's is like eating poison. I love it.
So good, especially when you had a couple beers.
You're still gonna a Big Mac in my face at some point. But like, to just eat that as like, oh, that's my lunch today. Like, no, you got to eat that as like a special treat. You know, like think of McDonald's as like a big bowl of ice cream that you can have like once a month, you know, like you can't eat it every day. And basically I harmed myself and harmed my body, and I gained too much weight, and I changed all my eating, all my habits. And dude, I miss food. I do. Like, I really miss going to Taco Bell and hitting it really hard, but like, you feel like garbage.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, I just feel like right now, man, what you're like how you're saying that focus. I just, like I said, I can't sit here and say I've watched everything for all over the years, but I what I have been consuming since finding out about you, the Nia Jax thing, like that was a huge thing for you to come out and put out on content of just like being vulnerable and being like, dude, I did think in the pads as a bit or as a joke, and I really felt like it was the wrong thing to do. And like, I thought that was a great piece I actually reached out to you. I was like, that was beautiful, man. Like it was a really good piece of content. And I just, honestly, man, just from meeting you from the day at the library and then working and then watching your content and then seeing you at the 2 times at Smash, dude, I think I know you've already accomplished a lot, but I think you're on another level now. I think right now, mentally, I think you found your focus, you found your balance, you're getting your health in order, your content's good, the people around you are good. I think GTS is going to kick some fucking ass soon, man.
I'm glad you recognize it, because that's the way I feel. That's the direction we're heading. Like I said, dude, I have leveled up. You know, I had a mental breakdown, which I haven't really discussed. You know, kind of throwing that out there. That was years ago. I've been through a lot. I've been through a divorce. You know, I found a new partner, and let me tell you how, just like food affects my health, your partner affects everything in your life, man. And if you don't have a good one, if you don't have a good supportive, I will praise Tina as much as I possibly can. I married literally the best one, and she's my biggest fan, my biggest cheerleader. She's got my back through thick and thin, and I just love her. She's helped me find me, you know?
Yeah.
And to me, that's awesome. And like you said, dude, I'm glad you recognized what you just said, because that's the way I feel. I feel like I'm on another level. The thing with Jack's thing was, you know, I tried to be like a Howard Stern of the WWE YouTube, you know? So I would say offensive, shocking shit. I don't mean that. I don't ever want to hurt anybody, dude. I felt genuinely freaking horrible when that happened. And I genuinely thought Nia Jax was a cool ass person. And I genuinely was attracted to her. She
is a baddie.
No, this is all wrong on so many levels, you know? And that's why I genuinely, like, when I had the opportunity to say, wow, I can talk to her and face to face like a man, you know, not a troll behind a screen, not whatever she thought of me, whatever the rest of the world thought of me, as a man, say, hey, look, I messed up. I'm sorry. It ain't like that, you know?
Yeah. Well, listen, man. Oh, I really appreciate your time. I don't want to keep you all night here. Just in closing, where where can people find you is a crazy question, but where can people find you? How can they show the support, and anything in closing you want to put out there, man?
I got 3 channels on YouTube. Silly Super Pop is the GTS wrestling channel. Grim Experience is my vlogging channel, and Grim's Toy Show is for all the action figures and other assorted action. I'm on Twitter at Grim's Toy Show, Instagram at GTS Ambassador, TikTok, King GTS Grim, and I'm in other places too. Find that.
Use your Twitter helps out. Yeah, but thank you seriously so much for your time. I appreciate you doing this, and anytime, man, this door is open. Anyone on the GTS roster, I'd love to have a conversation with. I think I have most of them booked the rest of the month, but like I said, man, I'm really proud of what you're doing. You're inspiring me, honestly. This content thing is crazy, and you think you partner up with other content creators and you think you're all going to be on the same team and you're going to do things, but everyone's kind of out for themselves, and you're very gracious about your platform and helping others with it. And that's kind of what my goal is here. Like, honestly, I'd love to be a top, thought of was one of the top like interviewer guy, you know what I mean? But like, I want to build my platform. So if I can give an opportunity to a young Flash or a young person or a young Jay the Key and be one of his first interviews as my platform, and he gets exposure from it, that's the goal, man, is to help other people. And I love what you're doing. And I hope we keep partying more in the 570, and I'd love to come hang out in the backyard sometime.
Absolutely, man. You're welcome to come anytime. And anytime you want to get a car full of people, head down the mountains to the Jersey Shore. We'd love to have you.
Awesome. All right. Well, we'll let you guys go. Make sure you check the links below for everything ABJ, as well as my guest. And let's close out with some Billy Trey, and we'll see you guys next time with, I just put a calendar up, so now I can actually see. The next episode will be Leo Sparrow. We talked a lot about, that school and amazing people coming out of it. And I think that guy that you talked about earlier might've been his trainer. So kind of full circle. So we'll see you guys next time. We're out of here. See you soon.